You are now tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to gods, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule, and that's be respectful. The rundown with Renee and My Skin is My Sin. Oh. Or if you check it out next week, or if you check it out in 1,000 years, and if you are that motherfucker that digs us up in 1,000 years, you are the most individual to ever walk the galaxy for digging up this greatness and still share our shit. What's good? What's good? What's good, family? Let's see if y'all can hear me first and foremost. How you doing, man? And welcome to another episode of My Skin is My Sin presents Intellectually Petty Radio. And my name is Jobs, and I am the worst at multitasking on the planet. So what I'm trying to do is, and we'll go back and check that out. Anyway, I need to check and make sure that you can hear me. That would be dope if you can, because I remember last time we did a Zoom. Okay, we good. Yeah, we good. Anyway, how you doing, man? How's life? I wonder how that. I got to check that back on the replay too. I wonder how that the intro sounded. You know, did it sound bad or was it decent? You let me know. Anyway, if we got anybody even tuning in at this point, and I want to say, you know, my bad. And I want to say, what is this episode 10, 11? I'm not sure. It's one of the two, and I'll change that in a second. And let me make sure that we check YouTube, Facebook as well. Shout out to you. At this point. All right. So I might have got that right. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. And it's a work in progress too. And shout out to the plug. He said he's just getting to the crib. Give him a few. So we will definitely do that. And Abdur Raham. I, I don't know how to say that. Abdur Rahman Idris. Idris. Shout out to you for liking the video. That was difficult. I'm sorry. And let me see. And let me just all right, what I'm just doing is just typing in the name of the show. We have not reached the point where I can like promote the shit like in advance. Either I don't know what I'm doing or we ain't got enough subscribers. So do us a favor, go to the YouTube channel My Skin is My Sin if you happen to check us out anywhere else, and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I don't know, let me see, we got about 113 to get to a stack. Help us get to a stack. That would be a beautiful thing right there. Damn. Like, and what's crazy is it won't let me oftentimes it won't let me edit the Facebook live stream on the computer, but it'll let me do it on my phone. Shit's just weird, you know. I don't have a two-step verification, so my account is at a greater risk of attack. Who would waste their time attacking our account? Like for real. With all of these other accounts on the planet doing way bigger and better things, I'm assuming. Don't waste your time with us. You know, if anything, you should be giving us the opposite attack. Anyway, today should be a dope episode, man. We got attorney Natasha Harrison coming on to the show. I want to talk a little bit about the Breonna Taylor case. Just being an attorney, just the whole nine, you know. So That would be pretty dope. I've been kind of waiting to get a lawyer on. And no, there would not be any free legal advice. It would just be her expertise. I don't know how to word the disclaimer. I'll wait till she gets on. Um, but she said she would be late. She's still doing a disposition. That's fucking dope, man. Still working. Shout out to Ian Franks, man. If you are into photography, that dude is God. That dude is a phenomenal photographer. So if you happen to check him out, I mean, if you can get that man a little love, man. I showed some of his pictures today. If you know me, you know that I post pictures every day. So I what is it, highlighted him. Very, very, very dope. Very dope. Anyway, and shout out to the whole family, man. If you liberationmindedmedia.com. And I don't know why I'm so tongue tied today. It must be the hat. I usually don't wear a hat. And now that I got a hat on, I'm feeling some type of way. I'm feeling subconscious. Oh, and since I'm not, it's just me. I've been watching this new show on Netflix, All American. This shit is dope. I am not even gonna front. It's basically Friday Night Light. I think that's how you say it. I think that's the name of the show. It was an all white school in Texas or whatever that used to come on. I forget, is it HBO? Anyway, but this is like that kind of that same type of show, but with a brother from Crenshaw. And I guess it's based on a true story. It's kind of like the Fresh Prince, but the football version. Only these month, it's a really good storyline. I think it's well written, and they got some good actors in there and actresses too. I think it's just a really good, I can't even say it, peek into somebody's life. So it basically is about him, moving to Beverly Hills to play football, and just the things that ensue after that. So if you are into something new and got Netflix and have not checked that out, I thought it was dope. Let me know what you think. I'm pretty sure you will. And I'm trying to make sure, like when we're using the Zoom, sometimes I forget that I need to physically come look at something, as opposed to like Skype, it rings. So it sometimes it scares the shit out of me too. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be having a whole ass conversation and just be like, oh shit, same shit. Anyway, and I'm not sure who these couple of people are on YouTube, but do us a favor and hit the like button. Subscribe if for some reason you have not already subscribed. Tag somebody. Share this on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Share it on TikTok. Make one. I don't care. Whatever works for you, do us a little favor. And I'm not the best at talking to myself and actually making sense, to be quite honest. So it just, I don't know. I have no confidence in my ability to hold an interesting conversation by myself, unless I'm talking about something specific. Like when I'm prepared, it's a little bit better. Wow. So this is what we doing now. We just going live, showing huge bags of weed. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm not mad at you, bro. I'm not mad at you. Just not, I don't get it. So, Action Bronson. Is anybody a fan of his? I am not a fan of Action Bronson's. I've watched the cooking show or whatever the hell that is, and that's all right. But as a rapper, oh my god, man, this is pretty bad. Really bad. Who's worse than Action Bronson as a rapper? And I don't even think we talked about Snoop Dogg's top 10. That's absolute. He got Too Short in his top 10 list of MCs of all time. And I know this is completely random and totally off topic. And we just waiting on Natasha Harrison to come on the show. But like, come on, man. Too Short. And I was around when Too Short, was popular and became popular, in the beginning. I remember Life is Too Short or first hearing bitch, like, but he was never at any point like regarded highly as an MC. I don't think that was really his angle or his goal. I don't think he was trying to be like super the best. He just made ride music and shit that niggas in Oakland thought was dope, and it translated to the rest of us. But top 10, like, come on, man. Like that's just that's not hip hop, bro. That is just not. And people, I made a post about this shit, and this one dude got so pissed off. This nigga called me all kind of names and then blocked me. And then the most emotional, tender part of the situation was when he said, "You about to be blocked," and he spelled it BLOKDT. I felt some type of way about that. Like, if you a grown man, and you, first off, why are you telling anybody you about to block them and you a grown ass man? I don't get that part. Secondly, why you spelling it like you a seventh grade female? Like, I just don't. I don't. I didn't get the whole situation, and I thought it was just an embarrassment, not just to men, but to humanity. Like, we've got to do better than that. We definitely have got to do better than that, man. People, I love you. If nobody has told you today, I love you. That's real shit. And I say that shit every day. And I don't even know how many years I have been saying it on my account at this point. But when I say I have, and let me, this the shit I be on in the morning. What I do is I every day, every morning, I wake up and I find at least 12 pictures to post for that day. And I post them all in the morning. And let me make sure I read this correctly. Even though I've been saying it for years, for some reason I still don't. Good morning, fam. If no one has told you yet, I love you. Every morning for years, because I just have the belief that hearing "I love you" throughout the course of a day without an ask attached or without a requirement for that "I love you" is a beautiful thing. It doesn't mean I'm gonna show up at your house and buy you groceries, but it does mean that there is somebody on this planet who cared enough on that particular day to tell you they loved you. Just appreciating the fact that you share the planet at the same time and space as other people. Like, everybody living right now, we got a unique story. Everybody on the planet that live today. And I mean everybody. I mean, we can exclude like newborns and kids that just got here. But even them, they got different experiences themselves. But sometimes you just got to be thankful for being in this moment with other people, even the people that you don't know. Because there are a lot of people that did not get the opportunity to have this moment. And so we as humanity, we share that commonality at any given point in time. It's interesting being just when you really look at how how many people have actually been on the planet ever. I mean, we've got several billion currently. Over the time of mankind, how many billions of people has there been? I don't know. Can you? I've never Googled that before. I don't know if that's a possibility for people to even adequately count. It'd be a best guess, period, or an educated guess. Um, Man, I wish I could pronounce your name because that just really is Abdurrahman Rahman Idiris. Abdurrahman Idiris. I hope I said that right. Shout out to you, man, for supporting the show, man. That's pretty dope. But it's interesting, I don't know why I'm thinking about that shit like that. I have my moments, but I've had a lot of losses, a lot of loss this year, and oh my god, I missed them like crazy. But at the same time, I appreciate a lot more my ability to exist, that I'm still here. And I don't think we get that enough. We spend so much time at like hate has it probably consumes 70% of society. Hate in some way, shape, fashion, or form. There's people that hate other people because of their color, because of their religion. They hate macaroni and cheese. They hate this particular car. They hate this show. Like hate is thrown around so much. I would say that hate consumes 70% of our society. Just a guess, you know. But why don't we focus on the good? And if you tuned in to hear attorney Natasha Harrison, she is still in a disposition, so our apologies. She'll be a little late. And the plug, well, you know how the plug get down, man. The plug is the plug. He out there doing pluggy shit. He's got a fabulous life. I don't have a fabulous life. I'm a very boring individual, and I'm old. But I think about shit. And sometimes I like to share the shit that I think about, especially when it's just me by myself and I have the option of rambling on. So shout out to you. Oh, and if for some odd reason you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and feel the need to donate money to somebody and it happens to be us, my cash app is $ Jobstown. That is JOB as in baby, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, OWN as in Nancy. That's Jobstown. Anyway, um, and shout out to emeraldshell.com. If you need some handmade, just phenomenal jewelry, go to emeraldshell.com and do your soul and yourself a favor and cop something. How many black businesses do we have in here that are doing 7 figures in revenue? Let me hear from you. Wow, that's such. I am not. So I'll keep scrolling. They don't want to hear my narrative at all. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I am. I really need to get better at the business aspect of it, because even from my understanding, even losses can actually turn into a financial gain depending on how you have things written up, and depending on how your taxes are done. And my God, I'm shit lost a shitload of bread. And this year, man, this year, like I literally took 2 months off, and I really probably should have taken 3. I'm not gonna lie, because there's still a couple of things, not physically, but mentally. I've got a ways to go, but I'm one of those people that I try to do self evaluation on a almost continuous basis, and not that it always works. Sometimes it's just you looking at you be stupid, and you not knowing how to stop you looking at you be stupid. It is what it is. Like people do dumb shit, myself included. I am no expert, on being great. I'm not. And that's an interesting thing, how great are you? At what point do you define for yourself that you are great, and you work towards that angle? And that's so a lot of people will say, yeah, I'm great. But for me, greatness is about effort. Like you may actually be like naturally gifted in one particular area or another, but there's other people just as gifted as you, And it is effort thereafter that gift is bestowed that really defines greatness. Like you look at like who we put in greatest of all time conversations in any sport. One thing that they all have in common is that they worked really fucking hard. Like if you want to say Tom Brady, you want to say Michael Jordan, you want to say Muhammad Ali. Although I would say Joe Louis is the greatest. That's a whole nother debate. Um, but one thing they all had in common, they worked their asses off. Like it wasn't like they worked when nobody was looking. They worked after they were successful. And that's a crucial element. Some people just want to see the mountaintop. And some people want to build a condo up there. And greatness builds a whole apartment complex at the top of the mountain. They get there and they still work. They don't stop working at all until they can no longer do it. That is greatness. And if you have an opinion on what greatness is, let me know. I'm curious. And I can only talk to myself a good half an hour, before it really becomes boring. And what I may end up doing actually is, and I've done this before. Hold on. All right. And shit, I ain't shared a show with nobody. I don't even know why. Anyway, let me invite some people right quick. Do 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 do. Good night, sweetheart. Don't ask me why I'm singing that song. Uh, all right. And I'm curious, and my bad. And shout out to you, Queen. Um, what is your definition of greatness? Since I got you tuned in right now, Natasha, how do you define greatness? And for those few people that's tuned in on YouTube, I would like your input on this one. What do you define greatness as? And are you there yet? What is it about you that you feel makes you great? And what are you doing to sustain that greatness? Like I think a lot of people, myself included, have thought that they were here for a bigger purpose. And there's a lot of people that think that, to be quite honest. My bad. And there's a lot of people that I just fucking lost my whole train of thought. And my bad, Natasha. Yeah, I was wondering, can you answer that for me? Like, what to you is greatness? Whether it be from yourself or just like your standard of what greatness is. Um, and I guess Rome will be calling up about 7:30. And what I was saying was what I'm gonna do before we get back on the greatness thing is I'm probably gonna chop most of this shit off in the beginning because I'm quite the boring fellow. I'm not gonna lie. My definition of greatness is overcoming things that were meant to break you. Okay. And I feel you on that, because not everybody can do that. Like if you'd have told me last year that this year was going to be like it was, I would have told you I would have folded up shop. I just would have went nuts. I would have been in a crazy house, or I would have been dead. But I'm not. Not that I'm saying things have been easy. They have not. But I'm not dead, and I still got an opportunity. That's pretty fucking dope. You know, learning to bounce back after low blows. That is so fucking crucial right there. That and resilience is a rare talent, to be quite honest. Like most people, and when I say I mean bounce back like from one extreme to the next. Like there are some people that have been rich, went broke, and got rich again. That's fucking amazing, and that takes a resilience unparalleled. You know, when you lose somebody in your life, somebody that meant the world to you, that takes a lot to bounce back from. And it could be a family member, it can be somebody you were dating. I mean, just oh my god, bouncing back from losing someone is one of the more difficult things humans can do. And no, we don't realize how strong we are until we are up against it. And I don't even know, like people will say, well, you strong for doing X, Y, and Z, when X, Y, and Z was not like you had no choice. Like outside of killing yourself, you don't have a choice but to go on, no matter what happens. And that's the so is that strength that you're doing something that you really have no alternative? When you lose somebody, oh my God, man, it hurts like hell when someone passes away that you love. Hurts like hell. But most people don't wake up wanting to kill themselves. They get through that pain the best that they can, and they keep moving though. They keep waking up. Oh, hell. Oh shit, my bad. See, that's old man talking right there. When I'm talking about myself, I bore my fucking self. That's how bad I am. And I used to be an interesting cat. Well, actually, you know what it is that my shit is more conversational based. And I feel like I'm slowly getting towards greatness, but I still play damage control in my life. And I'm really not like realizing I can't decide what happens to me in my life. Yeah, but you can decide what happens to you in your life. I swear, man, my cousin, I love him, man, but he calls at the absolute wrong times all the time. So I'm gonna call you back in a minute. Oh, all right. Bet. And my bad. Okay, we got the queen in the queue as well. And if I think we got Queen Natasha Harrison. And let me get the plug on here. And I don't know if I got you muted, Queen. Give me 1 second.
I'm muted.
Oh, okay. How you doing, Queen?
I'm good. How's everyone doing?
Doing good. My name is Jobs, and welcome to Intellectually Petty Radio.
You.
How's life?
It's good. So I literally just finished a deposition that I was appearing by phone for like 2 seconds ago. So I have to like recalibrate my brain, I guess.
Well, I appreciate that. What exactly is a deposition?
A deposition is it's essentially it's similar to trial testimony. So often what you see on TV is the person in court and the lawyers asking questions, one side saying objection and stuff like that. The same type of situation is set up in a conference room prior to trial, so that the other side can kind of figure out what's going on with the case. It's a fact finding
Hmm.
opportunity for people that will be potential witnesses, whether they're expert witnesses or fact witnesses. The first time that you find out what this person is going to testify to is not in the courtroom. You see what I'm saying? So a lot,
Hmm.
there was a video floating around of Lil Wayne, and he was in a room and the guy was asking questions, and I think he kept pleading the fifth to everything, and the attorney got kind of mad. And there's another one of Dame Dash, I think. So
Oh, I seen that one.
those are depositions.
Dame
Um,
Dash was classic though.
yeah, so I knew you would have thought one of those at least. Yeah, so he that was a deposition. So it's the so Dame Dash's attorney was in the room there to make sure that the questions are proper, and
Hmm.
other side of whatever that litigation was that he was dealing with, was asking questions. And then there's a court reporter that transcribes everything. And the court reporter also swears the witness in. So it's under oath and it can be used for perjury. So if they get into court and they say something different, then that attorney is going to say, do you recall giving your deposition on such and such day at such and such location? He's going to say yes. And they're going to say, okay, on that day, we asked you, da, 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 and you said, da, 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 da. So then that goes to their credibility.
Damn, you can't just forget.
I mean, it depends on the situation. So if it was something where, we think of something that just happened. Okay, so this deposition was of a doctor, and there's something, it's from a treatment date of, I think it was March, let's say March 28th of 2013. So that's 7 years ago and some change. So no one's going to remember. So of course she doesn't remember, she doesn't have any independent recollection of the patient that we're talking about. Now, if she gets into court and she's asked that question, she says, yeah, I remember her, I have independent recollection. And the other side says, on such and such day, you said during your deposition that you don't recall, or you don't have any independent recollection. She of course can say, yeah, but now that I see her right now, I do remember. Or between my deposition and today, something refreshed my recollection. So you can have an explanation for not forgetting. But if you answer yes to something and then you're changing your answer to no in court, that's different. So there's going to be a lot of follow-ups as to, well, why is your answer different? Are you lying then? Are you lying now? Or are you lying then? Type of thing.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I still had the speaker on, so it may have like been like an echo. And if it
Well,
was, my bad.
no, it wasn't for me, but that's
Oh,
fine.
okay. And we got another Natasha actually in the comments. She said it's nice to meet a fellow Natasha.
Hi, Natasha.
So you've been practicing what, like 7 years?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And personal injury?
Well, I mainly do toxic tort litigation, but I do,
Mm-hmm.
personal injury. So anything from, car accidents, like Lyft, Uber, up to like going against like major corporations, like the tobacco companies, BP Oil. The case I was just doing is against BP Oil.
Oh.
Um, yeah. So they're very different, and I like doing both. So I like, helping and working on cases of
Mm-hmm.
clients that I can see the beginning and end really quickly. So like a car accident, we can wrap that up in 6 months or maybe even less sometimes. The toxic tort cases take years. So, and they're obviously it's complex tort litigation, so it's a lot more complex than
Mm-hmm.
negotiating a deal with an insurance company following an
Which
accident.
and do you have a preference?
I like doing both. I like to mix it up. Majority of civil claims don't go to trial, right? So I think the number is, I think it's 90 something, but the number keeps
Damn.
rising. 90 something percent of civil claims. So any case where you're suing someone for money, 90 something percent of them never make it to trial. So I like the fact that I'm guaranteed to continually be in court because these types of cases, the complex tort and the mass tort litigation, those
Mm-hmm.
cases, for the most part, go to trial. A car accident case, most times it's not. I mean, sometimes you do have to litigate it, but it's rather rare.
Yeah, no.
What about toxic baby mothers?
Oh my
That's,
goodness.
that's family law. I don't do family law.
Okay, all right, okay, all right, all
Hold on,
right.
guys.
Just
Oh
quick
my
question.
goodness.
My apologies. How you doing? I'm wrong. I just
She
I just
totally
had to
ignoring
ask.
you, bro. She
I just had
complete
to ask.
she on the phone right now, man. She's completely ignoring you.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
I'm telling you the truth, man.
I don't believe you. I
Sorry, guys.
already smell hate.
Yo, Queen, you were on the telephone right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I'm trying to tell him she's ignoring you, bro. She can't hear you.
Oh yeah, I had to silence it really quick. So that was actually the attorney. Something came up in the depot that we need to discuss. So I just
Mhm.
bought myself 30 minutes because I told him I was already supposed to be on something else. So I just bought myself 30 minutes and then asked
Okay.
him back.
Okay. All right. So legally, in the Breonna Taylor case, totally switching lanes. What should we be doing? What should our black attorneys be doing to get them arrested? Is there anything that can be done?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think, I don't want to say a lot of people, but some people will, say to me, well, I don't think the phone calls and the emails do anything. They absolutely do.
Hmm.
It's sad that we have to throw like temper tantrums to get justice, but the bottom line is that's what has to happen in some instances, a lot of instances, because they feel like if we don't care, then they don't have to care. So we need to remind them that we're not going to stop caring about Breonna Taylor, and we need to apply pressure. So it's frustrating that we're not getting the same results in Breonna Taylor as we are in the publicized cases that are around the same time frame, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery. They're obviously getting more movement, but we have to remember that it's about the end game, right? The end game is conviction. So we want conviction and we want changes to legislation. So you paying attention to what's going on, what movement is not being made, being vocal about that, writing emails, sending letters, making phone calls. Yeah, it does go to voicemail, but blow them up. Like, make those phone calls. For people that are local, then you can get out there and protest. I'm headed back to Kentucky this month, and Until Freedom is occupying the state or the city for the entire month of August. These are the types of things that have to happen. So I don't like to, I can give suggestions as to what people can do, but I think that everyone needs to figure out where their strengths are. What are your talents? Where can you make the most impact? Okay, so if you are a good writer, then reach out to some local attorneys that are in Louisville and say, hey, are you guys working on any proposed bills or legislation? Can I help? Law students can get involved, and that'd be a great experience for them that they can use in their future, but it also helps the cause. So there's something that everybody can do, and the way you figure that out if you don't know for yourself is to just reach out to somebody and say, hey, what can I do? Sometimes it is just donating money because these things have to move. So right now in Louisville, they're having meetings, and Until Freedom is essentially teaching folks there how they can make an impact, how they can make a difference. So, there are so many people that have their hands in that. They need facilities to conduct meetings and hold people up, or not house people, but
I get what you're saying.
facilities, yeah. And they need food to feed them. So I feel like if more people would just, you can literally go on Instagram and reach anyone that you want to reach, send a message and say, hey, I am pissed off too, and I want to know how I can help. And again, some people are not the type to be on the front line, but they'll sign a check. And I don't want to discourage the people on the front line from being on the front line, because that's powerful. And I also don't want to discourage the people that are signing checks, because that's powerful too. You can't do both.
Right. The
equally.
revolution ain't free.
It's
Facts.
not. It's not.
People be acting like, oh well, so he's so and so, he should do it for the people. Like, he got to eat too.
Yeah.
And
It's a lot of time given. It's a lot of time put in there.
And what people miss is it's a lot of energy too. Okay, so I literally have not stopped moving. I was just talking to a friend earlier today via text, and they were saying, like, I can't wait to get back out. And I'm like, I can't wait to just take just a 3-hour nap in the middle of a Saturday and not have to jump up to go here or go there. Like, I need rest. That's what I need. Which sometimes it does require like going on a vacation for me to get that rest, because then I can say I'm not in town, sorry. But so that, that does work better for me, but it's not free. The revolution is not free. So what I want people to get away from is saying, oh, they're just doing it for money. Let that like go out of style. Are there some people who are in it for the wrong reasons? Absolutely. But don't let that be a general statement that you just make, because there are good people out there doing really good things, and we should find ways to support them.
So when they say that, like, you see one of our brothers or sisters got murdered by the police, and then they say they have an attorney representing the family, what exactly are they representing them for? Like, because I think some people think that they're representing them in court as far as the case is concerned, that what happened to their loved one, and I don't believe that's the case.
That's a loaded question. There's many layers to that, right? So any family that has suffered such a loss as this, I always suggest that they have multiple attorneys. Okay, you'll see that often. Sometimes that's because the attorney that gets involved says, I want to bring in other attorneys to assist me because this is going to be, bigger, or whatever the reason is.
Right.
So that can be that choice, but I always advise the family to have multiple attorneys so that everyone can stay focused on what their role is. So is the attorney representing them in court?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to a certain extent. So criminal court and civil court is the easiest way to divide it, right? But you also have family court, you have drug court, you have, mental health court, you have little other courts in the mix, but essentially either we're talking about freedom or we're talking about money, right? So criminal, yeah, the family doesn't have an attorney that sits in for the prosecution and says, I'm going to make sure that this is done. However, the state attorney prosecutes or if it's federal court, the district attorney, whatever it is, but the government acts as the person that the body, the entity, the person that brings the charges and has to prove that that person committed whatever charge. Now, this is when we get to court. So we're not there in Breonna Taylor, but the family's attorney is still present to advise and to protect the family's interests, even through that process. Okay, so what does that mean? They're going to want to do press, but the state attorney they have their job to do, right? So their job is to advocate for the victims involved, but they're not thinking of specifically the family's interest per se.
Right.
The defense attorney, that is the attorney for the whomever is charged with committing whatever murder. Their job is to ensure that the state is doing what they're supposed to do and that their client gets a fair trial. More simply put, they want to get their client acquitted. They're not thinking about the family. That's not their role. That's not their job. The family on high, cases with a lot of press and a lot of publicity, there's going to be everyone's going to come from every which way. CNN, whatever news network is going to want to do interviews. There's going to be press conferences. There's going to be a lot of things surrounding them just being present in court. And they need someone that's going to protect their interests. Now, that's the criminal side. The civil side, the family will have at least one attorney that is focused on the civil case.
Okay.
And if it's a wrongful death and someone else is responsible for it, then there should be a civil lawsuit for it. The family should be compensated for that loss. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's how our justice system is set up. So that doesn't happen until after the criminal case is done. So sometimes people will look and they'll be like, this lawyer's there, and they're not even doing anything, because everyone has a job and you have to wait your turn. So while that attorney is not, you can file a civil lawsuit, but it just doesn't always make sense to do it right then. It just depends on the facts in the case. But even when a lawsuit has not been filed for the civil aspects of the case, the attorney is still working on that case, building it, collecting the information as things develop in the criminal case. That's information that can be applied to the civil case as well. So they're still working and they're building their case, and they're advocating for the family. So there's a lot of things that go on that the attorney is responsible for that you don't see, that doesn't quite make sense just looking at, when you see them on TV making a statement. So yeah, does that make sense?
That does. I appreciate that too. Yeah, I
makes
feel
a
a
whole
little
lot
bit
of sense.
smarter. It does. Do you watch other attorneys? Do they have like films that that lawyers watch, like the game tapes?
Gang tapes?
Yeah. Do they show
like Jordan highlights?
but only in court?
Oh, game. I thought you said gang, GANG.
Oh, no.
Sure. I mean, stuff will be on YouTube. I remember when I was a new attorney, and I don't even know how many thousands of depositions I've done at this point, but starting off, when you have to go to your first deposition, yeah, you want to see, does another attorney have a video depo that you can watch, just to kind of get the feel for it. But yeah, bigger cases are publicized. Someone, like Johnny Cochran, who his, was very, very, very popular. So his cases were always going to be filmed because everyone loved Johnny. So you could probably put together a highlight reel of his cases, and someone probably has. But I don't think that, I don't know. I think that, I don't know that would be very entertaining. So I've never heard of someone doing it and putting it out to watch the way that people watch a game, a highlight reel of Jordan. But I don't know, if no one has, you might be onto something. That might be.
I know. I'm just thinking about that. Like, damn, I should do that.
I have a hypothetical question for you.
Okay.
and I just want you to answer it to the best of your ability, what you comfortable with.
Okay.
So speaking on Breonna Taylor, um, let's say Breonna Taylor was Brittany uh, Jakowski,
Mm-hmm.
right? Same scenario, but she's not a black woman.
Okay.
As an attorney, do you feel like there would be a higher level of accountability at this point dealing with the case?
Well, yeah. I mean, the reason why people are everywhere screaming Black Lives Matter and wanting it plastered everywhere is because the one thing we do know is that um, in our nation as a whole, Black lives don't matter. And Black women in these types of situations get even less, you know, I don't want to say concern. I don't think that people, it's not that people don't care. I just don't think that people are as pressed to advocate for justice for Black women. Part of it is because Black women, we tend to just carry the weight and keep it pushing. But I think that now people are starting to speak up more. And that's one of the silver linings of this Breonna Taylor situation. Her murder has opened a lot of people's eyes to not just the injustices that surround Black people in the Black community, but Black women specifically. And that's why people are, the WNBA from the very beginning, they were like, this is how we're doing it, and they wanted everyone to say her name. And I think that this would have been different if it, was a white girl named Brittany. Uh, yeah, of course, absolutely, because that's what history has taught us, right? So, I think that it means that the police would have been arrested by now. Depends on who was advocating for it, but I think that right now some people put blue lives above all lives. So I
Man,
don't know
Right.
how, I can't really, just what first pops into my head. I don't know that I can break down how I think that that scenario would have played out. But I definitely think that there would have been more media coverage of it, especially if she was an attractive white woman. And I think that there would have been a closer look at the laws that are in place, and it probably would have gained more traction beyond Louisville. I just think that it would have been different. I mean, we know that based upon what we've seen when Black girls go missing or
mm,
kidnapped, and versus what we see when, a white girl is kidnapped or gone.
Absolutely.
facts.
Absolutely.
Ain't shit changed. You know.
But we're pushing to make changes. So that's why I want people to say, what can I do to help? How can I change this? I don't want everyone to continue with the mentality of like, this just how it is. It's always going to be like that, because I don't believe that's true and I won't stand for that.
have you seen In Fact?
What's that?
Uh,
Let's
it-
see. Not effing around coalition.
Oh, yeah.
basically,
I
yeah,
never heard anyone say it. In fact, that makes sense.
we got a chance to actually interview their founder,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, that was pretty dope. But I was wondering, what do you think of like is that the way of the future that we need to show up with guns?
Mhm. I don't know if you've been on my page, but I'm an advocate for concealed weapon permit by all
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Black people. I just don't understand how you could be Black in America right now and feel safe without a firearm on your hip, in your bag, somewhere within arm reach at all time. Um, do I think most people agree with me? No. But are more
Hmm.
people agreeing with that? Yes. And do I think that they're the wave of the future, or that's the direction that we're going? That's hard to say, but I do think that you can make stark contrast between the protest where white supremacists with, open carry weapons, carrying automatic rifles and such, um, in, front of whatever government building, and we saw how that played out.
Right.
So that's been part of my response when people make just the color, distinctions. Look how this white protest was, and look how this Black protest was, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but they got big guns, and y'all out here saying, please, walk with us and please come support our Black Lives Matter movement. No, I do think we need to get away from please and stop all this begging, because this is not cute and I'm sick of it. Um, do I think that we should be everywhere carrying guns? Well, if I lived in an open carry state, I would carry them too, because they're carrying them. So if white supremacists make it clear that they don't like us just based upon the color of our skin, how do you feel safe amongst them? I don't get how you feel safe. So I do think that we need to take a more forceful approach to the things that we deserve. These are not wants. We're literally asking for basic human rights, basics, civil rights. Like that blows my mind that you can say to people that this particular class of people, their lives matter. And then people say, well, but what? So we've tried to be nice. We've tried to, be patient. And I think that a more forceful approach is definitely the wave. And just them carrying guns and being ready for whatever and not taking nobody's shit doesn't mean that
Man.
saying that we're going and we're going to start shooting up places, because that ain't us. Look at all mass shootings. That ain't us. Okay. So, carrying around your rifle or whatever your, gun is, your firearm is, and saying that don't try me because we ain't with that, it should be the move.
I'm with you on that one, Queen.
And they're not saying, so people will look at them and they're like, oh, they're trying to promote violence. Why? Like what? I mean, because I haven't heard of, except for one incident where like a gun accidentally went off or something like that. I haven't heard of them going into a place and, trying to stir stuff up and getting aggressive and inciting a riot or no. Who do we hear that from? From
Right.
the police that are, stirring stuff up, inciting riots and injuring people. So,
And you know what you don't see is the police even coming close to them. Let alone throwing tear gas or anything.
Yo, it was a dude in Pennsylvania, shot an AK-47, shot 7 rounds at the police in Pennsylvania. I don't know exactly what city it was, but I just read this article.
Oh, and
Shot
they
7.
blamed it on on COVID depression.
Yep. Bruh, they arrested him.
Of course.
They arrested him peacefully. He didn't die. He wasn't injured. Like nothing.
I saw him too. Yeah, white guy, of course. But
And
man.
Well, when he was arrested and wasn't shot or killed, I already knew what race he was.
Right.
Would you defend him?
For what?
Like if you were, let's say you were a criminal attorney, defense attorney.
So for his criminal charge for attempted murder or whatever.
Yeah.
When I did more criminal defense, so like if I did primarily criminal defense and he came into my office, like because I drew my line at someone accused of molestation or pedophilia or something like that. That's where I drew my line, because I knew that I didn't want to, and almost felt like I couldn't, cross-examine a child that is saying that this person this grown-up did something inappropriate to me, and then I'm just focused on making sure that my client has a fair trial and basically trying to get an acquittal, not guilty verdict. I knew that I couldn't do that. Now people think burglars, murderers, that how can you do that? And it's like, well, first of all, he's not guilty until he is proven innocent, right? So in this case, there's video, there should be no question of it. But I mean, shoot, like we just talked about, the revolution ain't free. So if he want to give me his money to go and negotiate a plea deal or whatever, because it's crazy of him to, like, why you gonna go through a trial? And there's video of you doing it. I'm sure he probably admitted at some point, because he's, I don't know, whatever. So if I need to collect a check and represent him, I would have done that earlier. Now I'm a little more choosy with regard to the cases that I take overall, but especially criminal defense, right? So I like to take cases that I feel passionate about, because it allows for me to go harder. I will collect a check for everything that I work on, but I like to have some level of passion involved there. And that type of person, I can't be passionate. I don't want you on the street, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like our criminal justice system is raggedy. So everyone deserves a good lawyer to represent them no matter what aspect, what side you're on.
Some motherfuckers don't. I'm sorry, I can't agree with that. Some people just need to go to fucking jail.
Mhm. Well,
Like,
I don't support going to jail, period. I think the prison system is a hot mess.
really?
Um, yeah, so
So, like, how would you punish a murderer?
I'm not gonna say that on here, but I
Okay,
think
I feel.
there are alternative ways of punishment that you
Mhm.
need to decide what is your goal with prison, right? So
Yeah.
you think just sitting a child in timeout and not saying anything to them about your expectations for how you want them to handle the situation better in the future. And then if your child keeps on doing the same thing over and over again, and you are having that conversation and you're not trying to explore further to figure out like, why is my child doing, like, what is there something else
Yeah.
going on? Like maybe I need to explore this. Your goal with a child and disciplining them should be to correct a behavior so that they can be better and learn lessons, right? So
Hmm.
prison to me is, I just think, what's the point? Like it's not rehabilitative. Like, we in studying criminal justice, we study the systems and the various ways of how prison can accomplish, like, are you trying to rehabilitate, are you trying to reform, is it
Hmm.
just for punishment? And I think just for punishment is counterproductive, because you got people in there that, I'm only talking about the people that were rightfully convicted of a crime
Right.
and their sentence. I think the sentences are unfair for us.
True.
I can't
Yeah.
support the system. And I think that there's nothing, it's designed to keep them essentially coming back. I don't know the percentage, but I'm sure someone has studied this. And I think a large percentage of people in prison return, not because of who they are, but because of the fact that they become institutionalized while they're in there and they can't get a job when they come
Yeah.
out. No opportunities for them to create some new normal for them and then adjust to the way the world is now that they're out after doing however much time. And it's just created for them to fail. And I don't like that. So the decision needs to be made, like, is this person, you know should they be on death row?
Hmm.
Okay, that's different. That's, you need to be punished and do your time and then you're going to be sentenced to death. But if this is someone who's eventually going to be let back out into society, just
Hmm.
sitting in a small room and giving them, like little bits of recreational resources, whatever, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, the prison system is to benefit, it's a corporation at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm,
Because you used to get a degree, you can come back out to society and actually function higher than you were prior to going to prison.
yeah,
If
and
that
I
if
mean,
that makes sense.
it's we know who it was designed to
Yeah.
um, remove the rights for, take away freedom from. I mean, prison is just a new form of slavery at this point,
Yeah.
and um, I just think it's absurd that it's for profit. So many of them are, and they're making money off of it. They have quotas. I mean, I could go on and on and on with all the issues that I have with the prison. And then, I mean, the school to prison pipeline, that's a thing. Like, and people
Yeah.
need to be aware of it, and we need to figure out how to fix it. So one of the sources of fixing that is defunding the police and reallocating those funds to communities, which
I'm
will end up reallocating them to education as well so that we can fix this.
I'm with that 1,000%. Like I don't get like how people is like, no, don't defund the police. Okay, it's the police departments with tanks, like real ass tanks. You don't need a fucking tank. Please
Yeah.
explain to me why half the police force needs a Ford Explorer. You don't need a Ford Explorer. Them old ass cars that you was driving in the 90s. Look, my shit's from 2012. Why can't your shit be from 2012? I don't get it. They don't need, I understand certain weaponry, certain, but they take that shit way too far. You don't need all that when you can put that into school programs
Mhm.
or, job programs. Like it used to be, you didn't have to be a doctor or a lawyer to be successful in this country.
Mhm.
You can work on the line at Chrysler and not only raise a good family, y'all go on vacation, y'all have a nice house. And it didn't matter, black folks too. Like I'm from Detroit. That shit happened.
Mhm.
But now, it's all set up for people to be right to go to prison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's it's money is number one.
Yeah,
Certain humans' lives are number two, but money is definitely the number one focus. And that should be clear to everybody after the way this whole pandemic has played out thus far.
man.
So all of these, everyone's, happy to receive $1,200, but did you read to see how much money went to bail out these major corporations that really didn't even need it?
Right.
And
Yeah,
Right.
some of them, like, we can live without y'all. Like, if you can't make it, then maybe your stuff wasn't together. But you want to be like, oh, well, and put it back on the person who got laid off from their job, or even the people that had to quit their job because they're an essential worker and now their kids are out of school. They don't have anyone to help. Maybe the person who typically babysat for their children passed away from COVID. Like, people are in effed up situations and nobody cares. And it makes me very, very sad that all they care about is money, that the rich keep getting richer. We have people at the top that are climbing towards billion or trillionaire status. And we literally have people that are just begging for, please don't evict me and my kids.
yeah,
So it's a sad, sad situation. But it's a situation that we have to fix. So we need to figure out ways to join our talents and, come together and get it together.
yeah. The homeless population probably next year is probably going to double.
Hmm.
Like they're going to evict so many people. They keep
Yeah.
telling them they don't have to pay rent, and they don't have the money to pay rent. But come next year, they're gonna hit them with a $10,000 bill.
At least, because you give $1,200. I mean, I don't know how much it costs to live in other places, but here in Florida, there's not many places that you can live and your rent is less than $1,000 a month. So I
Right.
just don't know what that $1,200 was supposed to do for people that have literally been out of work for months now. So if they're talking about another $1,200, like, okay, but we're looking at like next year before this ish goes back to normal. So I mean, what are we really doing for people? Like, are we?
Yeah, we hope.
Oh no. So
Uh,
I just hope and pray that, with the schools, that they can have a little bit more decency and try to protect these kids and these teachers. Some jurisdictions are like, screw you, president. Like, we're not making these kids go back to school. We're doing 100% virtual. But that's foul. Like, you're going to threaten taking away funding because
exactly.
you want to keep their kids, the students and the teachers safe. I found out from a podcast that I did on this issue last week that some jurisdictions are requiring the teachers to sign death waivers. I'm like, I just can't even make this
Wow.
shit up at this point. Like, are you seriously going to put someone in a situation where they either have to quit their job, their career, and or sign a death waiver saying that, whatever they're waiving? I told them, send me that. Let me see that. Let me go ahead and find these loopholes now. So if you say no and they fire you, then we can go ahead and get it.
But
Yeah,
like,
because
have you seen like even the schools that's open already, like in Georgia, like they're having like massive outbreaks already.
Yeah. So one of the questions I asked is to one of the teachers that was a guest on the podcast is because he basically said that they gave them, books and it had like flow charts and it said like, if this happens and this is what we do in response, if that happens, then da da da. So I was like, okay, so what does the flow chart say when, not if, when there's an outbreak within the school? What happens then? Then everyone's forced to go to virtual now? Like,
Right.
what's, because they're saying that they're going to take everyone's temperature, but we all know at this point that people can literally be asymptomatic. So I don't understand what you think you're doing by just taking the temperature. There's no way to test someone for that's asymptomatic unless you are literally giving them a COVID test every single day.
Wow.
I mean,
yeah,
what are y'all
it's
going to do?
crazy. And then the fucked up part about it is the school board to have a Zoom meeting to discuss the shit, but wants you to put your kids in the classroom.
There you go. So my hometown, which is smaller, I found out that only one member of the board said that voted for virtual. Everyone else said for them to go to school. And I'm like, and
Wow.
most of them probably don't have kids. And I was like, but y'all need to keep that in mind when it's time to vote. Like, I'm
Yeah, and
and
your
voting.
old ass is in that is in the worst category. Like let's be honest. Most of the people on these councils, these board school board members, be older people. So when these
A lot
kids,
of
if they
them
have
are,
an outbreak, they're gonna go home and then quarantine with their parents. Now their parents sick.
yeah. So I First of all, I think that schools should have been split. Like all kids go every day
Mm-hmm.
because everyone needs to be considered, right? So it's not just about the people in charge. It's not just about the money. You need to think about the teachers and you need to think about every type of teacher. So you need to think about the teacher that's young and, early 20s. And you need
Mm-hmm.
to think about the teacher who this is their last year before they're up for retirement. They're elderly, but if they quit now, they miss out on a lot of benefits. You need to think about the parents, and you need to think about the parent who is a single parent who has to go to work, who has 3 children, all varying ages, and doesn't have anyone to help
Mm-hmm.
them, teach their kid or monitor their kid while the teacher is teaching them virtually. You need to think about the students. You need to think about every type of student. You need to think about the 5-year-old in kindergarten,
Yeah.
but you need to think about the 5-year-old that is healthy and the 5-year-old that has asthma. You also need to think about the senior in high school that is missing out on their, senior year and all the things that come along with it, who might want to go to school just because it's their senior year, but it might not be in their best interest. You need to think about the students that go home to elderly grandparents. You need to inform people that, hey, this is what you need to consider. It's not just about want. If you have elderly grandparents at home, you may want to opt for virtual. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? Like they need to communicate these people so that people can make informed decisions and parents can sit down with their kids and be like, hey, what do you want? This is what I think. And they can have that discussion and then make a decision. But if they wanted to go back, then everybody should do a 5-day week, and it should be split half through, like half of the students
Mm-hmm.
go in the mornings and the other half goes in the evenings. But then there needs to be after and before care. So if you go in the afternoon, part of the days, then you need to go to wherever there's aftercare, and that's before care for them, and that's where you
Mm-hmm.
start your day. So everybody is gone for the same amount of time from
Okay.
7 a.m. to, I don't care if it's 6 p.m., because then that allows for parents to go to work and do their work. And then so you can take that 500,000 whatever dollars that y'all get in and spend it on facilities for them to have aftercare, or send everybody, make everybody do virtual and then have smaller pods set up for kids who their parents cannot teach them,
Mm-hmm.
essential workers. There are just so many options here, but I just think that none of them really thought about everyone who's involved here,
Yeah.
and that frustrates me.
No, they only think about old white dudes. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And then white
How,
women, and then we at the bottom.
Mhm.
you,
Unfortunately.
how do you feel about? Oh wow. How do you feel about teachers going into teaching independently on their
Mhm.
own?
So I was a teacher before I went to law school for a few years, and well, a couple of years, and I probably would have set something like that up because I don't know. I don't know if they could have convinced me that they're gonna protect me enough for me to go back to school. So I probably would have figured out some way to do an independent type deal and rented out a
Yeah,
space, just charge, as minimal as amount of money as I could, to be able to accomplish this, and then like teach the kids the best I can. Just have them all opt for homeschool, because I think you get like a stipend, you get something for that. So then if y'all want to go to homeschool, then however many people I can fit in whatever space that I have to where we're all like socially distanced, then I'm going to do that, because kids need one-on-one support. And they can offer that if everyone's going virtual. But if it's split, where some kids are going virtual, some kids are going in person, some kids are homeschooling, like I just I just don't know. This whole thing has been like nobody really knows, and we're just all kind of just trying to see how it all plays
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. And
yeah.
then the president is just a fuck up.
Yo, you heard him say that kids are immune.
The
Okay, because we
president.
had a 9-year-old that had no pre-existing conditions and she just died. 2 teenagers just died. 11-year-old died, all from coronavirus. So
Yo,
maybe.
the crazy part is, yo, his Axios interview, it looked like an
Oh,
SNL skit. Like
it
it
did.
really looked like something you would see on Saturday Night Live.
The dude's he's a fuck up. Like he's a oh. We could go on for days talking about this goofball.
Yeah,
Oh my
but
god.
back to Breonna Taylor. Um, if you're pissed off like me and my homegirls are, then you need to follow Until Freedom. Like I said, that they're there for the entire month. You need to follow Breonna Taylor's family attorney, Lanita Baker, Diva Attorney on Instagram. She posts information, and those are the people that you can reach out to directly and say, hey, what can I do? You can reach out to me and I'll guide you as best as I can. I post information as well. It just is, it's frustrating where we are with this. Okay. There's so many things wrong with what happened there. And I've been saying that I get that some people want to say these three officers' names so that, they don't have the opportunity to be, like underneath the radar or whatever. I'm not going to learn their names. I won't. The three murderers, murderer one, murderer two, and murderer three. The reason why they're in the forefront, because they're the ones that their bullets actually, we're talking about who shot what and
Mm-hmm.
where. It cannot stop there, because what brought them there was this jacked up no knock warrant. And people were involved and were dishonest with regard to attaining said warrant. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the people that have their dirty little hands in here, and we're not even worrying about them. So this case is huge. There's so many moving parts. But what I don't want to happen is that people think like, oh, I haven't heard anything in a while, so you think that nothing's going on. That's not true. There's so much going on with this case. And that's why I'm going back. I'm not letting up. And a lot of people aren't either. There are investigations outside of the state's investigation.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that are, in the works there, but those things take time. So we want to see something done now. Absolutely. We want those cops arrested, officially fired. And I want to see justice all around, which is the person who lied and said that, the postal worker indicated that she was receiving lots of packages. The judge that signed this BS warrant, and then if the judge says, "Well, I went off of this fact, da, 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 da," and it was a lie, well, then that judge should make sure that that person doesn't put him in an awkward situation where
Right.
his signature is on a BS warrant. So everybody should be mad. If I was involved with it some way and I knew that I was lied to, I'd be like, because this person making me look bad. So they got to
Right.
go. So I just think that people need to be more fired up like that as far as the people that are directly involved. Everyone else, figure it out. Post on your social media. Make sure that people are still saying her name and still remembering her, either in your conversations or again, posting on your social media. You need to reach out to everyone that has the power to make a difference in this case. So Daniel Cameron just got married last weekend. And that's when I was like, oh nah, like I gotta come back.
Mm.
And I didn't know that Untold Freedom was going back, but I hit up my friend who is Breonna Taylor family's attorney, and I was like, I need to come back. Like, he got time to get married. And that's when I found that they'll be there for the entire month. So they're literally, with all the things going on, they're making this a priority and setting up shop
Mm.
to figure out what the hell we need to do.
And shout out to them and thank you.
Yes.
And
So
thank you to you too, Queen.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
If don't nobody else tell you, we proud of you.
Oh, thanks. Just doing my
That's
best.
for sure. No doubt. And I know we can't keep you too long. I know you got to call old boy back. I don't want to, that's money right there. You got to handle that one. I'm not mad at that. We
Thanks for having me.
definitely,
I appreciate it.
it was a pleasure and
I
an
have enough.
honor. Truly appreciate you. Our home is your home. Whenever you want to come back, we would love to have you.
Okay.
Definitely. And I'll send you a link. Once I kind of fix it up a little bit in the next couple of days and put it on YouTube officially.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
And just if anybody wants to get in contact with you one more time, let them know.
I'm the Lit Lawyer on IG, so the LIT Lawyer. That's probably the best means.
Yeah, the vacation pictures are dope too, by the way. So
They're
to put
old
that out there.
ones.
Well, hey, you've been on a vacation. I went to the hospital. It's different.
Get to the hospital for what?
Oh my God, it's a couple months ago. I had a heart attack.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you're still here.
It helps. Yeah, me too. I appreciate it though.
I hope you also figured out the stores and that you've made some changes to make sure that doesn't happen again.
I have not had a cigarette in 3 months, 2 days, 12 hours, 16 minutes, and 4 seconds.
Like, keep it up. So now, tobacco litigation is all I did for like 5 years. So I will tell you this: so cigarettes with all the
Mhm.
thousands of chemicals that were added to cigarettes to make the nicotine, which naturally occurs in tobacco, more addictive. So they intentionally did that, adding, embalming fluid, rat poison. There's tons of nasty stuff in there, acetone.
Oh damn.
So that a cigarette freebases quicker than crack cocaine. So that's why people are so addicted to cigarettes. But after 3 months, that chemical like makeup, then balance how everything triggers and makes you like feel like you have to get a cigarette or it's the end of the world. That's gone. So if you go back to smoking, it's a choice at this point.
I don't know if it's gone because I've continued to have the same urge to smoke as I did the first day I quit.
A lot of it is based upon habit.
Uh-huh.
So you just have to be careful and replace it with something else. So if you're the type of person that you could even back up straight or parallel park right, if you ain't have a cigarette in your mouth, then figure out something else that you can put in your mouth. You just have to replace it, and then it takes 21 days they say to form a habit.
Hmm.
I don't believe that. I think it depends on the person. So you probably have been focused on just trying to fight the urge, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now you need to think about like a replacement if you're still having the desire to want to smoke. But it would absolutely be a choice. There's science out there that supports that. After 3 months, the withdrawal, basically, you're done.
Hmm.
So it's a desire now. So keep that in mind.
Oh.
You can't
Shout out
blame
to me.
but I would, yeah, shout out for sure.
Facts. Facts though.
Well,
Uh, oh, someone just texted me and said that they wish that y'all would have read the comments or something. I don't know if people have questions.
I kind of got caught up in the conversation, so my apologies.
Well, if
Criminal
it's
prosecution is solely for punishment, and they don't consider rehabilitation.
Mhm.
I would agree with that. Um,
Well, I
and
do
I'm
I
not
do have to run those. So I just wanted to apologize to anyone that was, doing the comments. I'm not on the YouTube.
myself too.
Okay, so I do apologize, but if if people have questions, they can definitely come and ask me, or if there's a lot going on there, if you want to take note and I can come back and answer them, I'll have to do that too.
And I truly appreciate you, Queen. And again, I do apologize. Hey, sometimes I get caught up in a good conversation.
Oh, it's
So
understood. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to say to the people that were making comments or asking questions that, my bad because I didn't see them. But again, come ask me if you have a question. I do a series that's, a few times a month. It kind of depends on what people are asking me to talk about. But it's called Lip Gloss. And I just try to, add a little gloss to the things that people don't really want to talk about or don't really understand. And instead of, making it super boring, like via Google, I just try to talk about it, make it more conversational. But I answer questions. Like I need to do one about how to handle like being pulled over, which is
mm,
that you're being detained. So
yeah.
you there are questions that you can ask to make sure that it's a lawful detention. And there are preferred ways, in my opinion, to handle getting pulled over. So those are the types of questions like people will say like, hey, what's punitive damages? Or, why didn't they charge the people who killed Ahmaud Arbery with a hate crime? And, so if I get those questions, then I'll just kind
Hmm.
of do a video and address them. So long explanation, but that's why, I just wanted to let people know y'all can come and ask me, or like I said to you, if there's a lot of them, you can just take note of them and I'll come back. But gotta go. All
Without. Appreciate it, Queen, and you have a
right.
great day.
Thank you. Y'all take care. Stay safe.
You as
Peace.
well. Peace.
Bye.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was
Um,
fire actually.
yeah, that was pretty dope. And I'm not sure. Ryan Fraser was the only question. And I know Ryan Fraser. She's working, not ignoring. I'm just really just was fucking with my co-host at the time. Um, I was. Yeah, and yeah, I do agree. Criminal prosecution and like prison, they used to, it made an attempt to rehabilitate people, and the recidivism rate was definitely lower. Let's say 30 years ago, and there's a reason for that. Now
Right.
it's all about the monetary aspect of the prison and that alone. Well, not just that, locking up as many black folks as possible.
It's possible. Right.
You know, um, but we getting ready to wrap this joint up. Oh, and I might actually check out this Rick Ross and
Two
Two
chains.
Chains. Yeah.
It's gonna be closer than what people think. But
Two Chains is trash though, man.
Two chains
But
is on mad hits though. Like
Right.
you can't front on it. He's on
You
mad
can't.
hits.
You know, like he's trash, but I was gonna say like he I was gonna basically say the same thing. You know, Rick Ross so underrated as an MC, bruh. Like, dude is nice, and he picked dope ass music.
Yeah, Ross always has
Yeah,
great production. So
yeah,
that's like one thing he has to his advantage. But
yeah,
2 Chainz is on mad hits though. Like regardless of how like trash you may think he is, like commercially, he has a lot of success. And like you gotta
yeah,
think about like all those Kanye joints, all those good music joints. Like he was on all of them. Like they're hits though.
yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, you got your shout outs, bruh.
Yeah, man. Shout out Keys Development. Shout out 300 Gangsters. Yo, shout out to NFAC too, man. Oh, your all praises due. Um, Holla at us tomorrow. We got the water cooler popping. We got Billy Dane's MOP next week, yo. It's gonna be a fire show. Yo, check us out. Subscribe and share to YouTube. Follow me on IG at Striving for Perfection _43. And catch y'all tomorrow, man. Peace.
All right, no doubt. Like I said, don't forget to check out the websites emeraldshell.com and liberationmindedmedia.com. Uh, hey, and if you want to send us some bread, man, we'll take it. It's Jobstown, the Cash App, JOBSTOWN. It's that simple. Uh, rest in peace, mom. Rest in peace, dad. And we out, fam. Peace.
Peace.
And definitely truly appreciate the Queen Attorney Natasha Harrison. Phenomenal conversation. Definitely look forward to having her back on the show one day. All right,
Hey,
now we
shout
out.
out Fred, man. Shout out Fred.
Yeah.
Shout out
Shout out
Barbershop
Fred for the
Conversations.
plug. Yeah, barbershop
Peace.
conversations. Yeah, that's a dope look. My bad. Shout out to Fred. Good
Absolutely.
looking.
Salute to Fred, man. Peace.
All right, we out.